Hey everybody, thanks for joining me here on this video. I just had a really great talk with Joshua from Electric Gnosis. I had been making some connections over the past years building up and then last year, and it's all culminating to really things have clicked in uh, to a cool point at right now regarding plasma, torus, electric discharge, reality, what is really happening, how things are formed. And it's, as if you've listened to me before, you know that I have an injury and I'm resting a lot and contemplating a lot and don't have a lot of energy to make a lot of edited videos and do a lot of interviews. But when I do, occasionally I get really excited to share. So today I had the opportunity to, as I was resting, so I wasn't on the camera, uh, but talk with Joshua, who was on the camera. And we had a great talk for about an hour. And as much as I had written down notes, I still get excited and uh, have one train of thought link up with another train of thought and, go in different directions. And there's a lot of things still that I want to bring up as my insights to share and see what he has to think. So after re listening to this and re looking at my notes, I'll have more to share and maybe get some feedback on. Uh, I really have been appreciating watching this channel recently and everything that Joshua's presenting and sharing in such a cool, concise manner. I definitely recommend checking out his channel here, and here's the talk. My path 5 or 6 years ago, I started noticing the tree as a symbol calling out to me. Like I kept staring at trees and wondering, what is it about the tree that I'm supposed to? Because I've always been sort of a mystic type, only child, very like in one foot in one world and one foot in this world, and could sense into other types of just a greater perception than the normal type brain, I guess. So I was wondering, like, what is this tree thing? Is it about Kabbalah? So should I study Kabbalah because it's the tree of life? And then I realized, no, it's about the Taurus. So I started to think because of the shape of the tree that makes the root up to the branches and then out and back around again, that life cycle. So I started studying the esoteric meaning of the torus, electromagnetism, and then plasma started to slowly introduce itself into the picture, but I wasn't sure how they tied together. And so I was really just focused on the torus and electromagnetism. And over the past year, after reading Robert Temple's New Science of Heaven, when he talked about the Kordylewski clouds and the sentience of plasma and how much of everything is actually that formless. And I was thinking, oh, so we are just the form, we are the plasma in form, and everything else is formless, right? So for that kind of sparked something in me. And then I was still wondering, like, how do I tie plasma in with the torus and electromagnetism? And so I because I was watching this channel called Pixel T, this woman named Yolanda, she was talking about the squatter man, and I could see that how it looked like a torus, but I didn't know that it was a plasma discharge until your video came up on my feed, Strange Gods. And then I watched that and it totally blew my mind. And then the next day, Library of the Untold put your thing on their post. And so I was like, oh, this is great. So then I started doing more research about, like, okay, what are these different discharges? And I found that paper by Anthony Pratt online, and I didn't watch enough of your stuff to know that you were inspired by him. And then I was like,
it just all the timing, it all just started to come in at the same time. And then I started watching more of your stuff, and it's all just kind of tying now together. And so I've always been a natural pattern recognition sort of uh, adept and a natural syncretist. And so now everything is just like it's just getting. Does it blow your mind, like the sync? It's almost like the connections go to like a singularity point. It's like it's an exponential, everything becomes more and more and more connected, more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's strange. And the best way I've kind of like found to explain what you're talking about, if I'm thinking of the same thing,
Hmm.
and I could be thinking of something very parallel or analogous to it, but maybe not exact. But I started looking into like who has researched synchronicity, right? What respectable
Yeah.
people have researched like coincidences or synchronicity? And I started finding about Carl Jung, and
Yeah.
also John C. Lilly.
Hmm.
And Jung honored the synchronicity and would say that you know, it's you can either see everything as coincidence or everything is meaningful, right? Or you can try to
Hmm.
like walk that line where you try to interpret what is and what isn't. But kind of John C. Lilly, the way he explained it, he called it this thing called the ECHO, the Earth Coincidence Coordination Office, ECCO. But
Mm.
sounds like echo, right? Like you say something that comes
Right.
back at you, like feedback or karma or whatever. And he talked about it was more of a analogy to um, express his idea that there's some intelligence that operates maybe within us, through us, beyond our total understanding, that arranges things in our life. Because if we think about, it's a lot of the ancients said everything was an illusion, like Maya. It's just there's a veil, right? And
Yeah.
Tesla would talk about everything is vibration, just energy and vibration, little
Hmm.
little little dots zipping, blinking in and out of existence and zipping around and organizing themselves based on sonic architecture and cymatics and stuff. So are we living in some kind of like dream world that can arrange it? So once it's like we
Hmm.
either does it notice us or do we notice it, right? But once we start noticing each other, the universe kind of winks at you, and you can start noticing. You can almost feel like you're going insane because everything is
Yeah.
so synchronous and so connected, and stuff starts blowing your mind on the daily that you can't even if you could explain it to somebody in a rational way, like where you weren't excited and didn't like already seem a little like, you know what I mean? So many people are just
Right.
stuck in the day-to-day and normal stuff that they don't
Hmm.
recognize um the extraordinary when they're encountered with it. And a lot of times you have to kind
Yeah.
of experience it for yourself too. So it's like I can't blame other
Yeah.
people for not getting it. But for those who get it, it's almost like the mystics talk about, like where you're in this union, this divine union with reality, and it's like this
Hmm.
synchronistic mirror, this feedback loop where synchronicities start presenting themselves in ways that there's no way this could all be either happening, or there's no way this could all be just uh isolated pieces that don't mean anything. There's no, like, it's really crazy. So when you start
Hmm.
talking about being an only child, I was an only child, and
Mm.
I felt
Okay.
always felt I was more empathetic or tuned in to, just could
Right.
read people maybe a little more than others. And like I've been looking into sentient plasma too, the whole Robert Temple thing.
Yeah.
Other people who have been researching it. So as far as the tree and the Torus, it's funny because I keep coming back to this etymology, to where you like
Mm.
strip away the vowels because the vowels are recent additions.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah.
you look
TR.
at, yeah, so it's like Taurus,
Yeah.
turtle, Tortuga,
Yeah.
terrapin,
Right.
tree, Taurus, tower.
Yeah.
That TR
Hmm.
is the tree too. So I think it's all harkening back to that cosmic tree, the Yggdrasil, the
Yeah.
energetic,
Hmm.
the plasma
Yeah.
tree. Um, and because it's shaped by electromagnetism
Right.
and kind of that's what underpins our entire reality.
Yeah.
That's what governs those patterns. That's like God, the generator of dimensions, God, whatever you
Exactly.
call it, right? And in
Yeah.
one way, and then when the sentient plasma gets involved with that like grid, like
Right.
just things go crazy, and everything in a way is holographic, but not in a way where it's an illusion. What holograph really means is that the entire whole is contained in the smallest piece. It's just a little hazier, right? It's not as much,
Right.
not as good a resolution, right? But if you can kind of that's why when people start seeing and making connections to things that don't involve, especially petroglyphs and religious iconography that don't involve
Yeah.
the plasma physics, it's like, ooh, keep digging, like as within, so without, as above, so below. So you're not wrong, because what is echoed in the sky, neon signs in the sky, is
Right.
also echoed within sight of us, you know?
There's so much I want to say. I'm trying to play a video.
Yeah,
So I'm just going to share my whole screen. But based
sure.
on what you just said, I have a TikTok I just started.
Okay.
I would love you to check it out sometime. But let's see if you can hear this video with you see the egg kaleidoscope egg.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kind of touches on what you're saying. Let's see if I can hear it. If we can hear it.
A living kaleidoscope of lights and sounds at different rates and frequency. An electromagnetic field of plasma folding itself into infinite possibility. A shift in perception, action, or charge rearranging fragments of potential, revealing another order from chaos within the cosmic egg. A cymatic pulse refracting endlessly through the larger field. A liquid crystal display to witness within and without.
I referenced the kaleidoscope to somebody else
Oh, you did? Yeah.
recently, and I don't know. I'm always finding like connections in music, so immediately I think about Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, where they talk about the little
Right.
girl with the sun in her eyes, or something about kaleidoscope eyes.
Yeah. And then I made this one a few weeks ago because I was thinking about the spires. Since you can't hear it, I'll just say, uh, I was like, okay, they're bringing down from the ether the charge.
Yeah,
And
and
so
they
these,
used
mhm.
yeah. Go. I'm sorry. It used to accidentally happen, like but
Okay.
so I made a video on this called it's about Saint Elmo's fire. So Saint Elmo's fire
Oh,
is
haven't
the
seen that one yet.
yeah,
Yep.
so it's a blue glowing discharge of plasma that is often seen surrounding. Most commonly, it's seen on the ocean on top of ship masts that are like really high up and made of metal. But
Yeah.
also in like there's a town called Bisbee, Arizona. There's a bar there called St.
Yes, my
Elmo Bar.
friend went there. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a bar called St. Elmo, and they consider it a ghost town. And what I'm thinking
Yeah.
is that a lot of these towns that are considered ghost towns, they're high elevation, and they probably
Yeah.
still have remnants of things with like high metal spires, and are attracting that
Yeah.
same plasma. It's basically not attracting anything necessarily. What I think is happening is because of the structure, because of the fractal nature of it, and the
Yeah.
metallic nature of it, copper or whatever it is, or
Yeah.
it's I somehow just the shape and the material is ionizing the gas into plasma under certain conditions when this guy there's a certain charge in it, and then it emits this blue glow, and they call it St. Elmo's fire is what they call it.
Right. And I also think that because of the shape of it, like you're mentioning, um, it probably induces the funneling of the nature of reality, like the Schauberger, the water. I think, it's not just water that does that. It's like
Right.
the spires must pull somehow the to start that funneling to kind of like pull the plasma in down more into density somehow.
I mean, that's a good idea. So I was recently looking at some images, and this will probably make a video of mine soon, but
Mhm.
some images from a video depicting like plasma filamenting,
Mhm.
and it also looks like the legs of certain like icons or gods, but the thing that I noticed when I was researching Schauberger lately is it also looks just like that funnel. It looks just like
Right.
the water funnel. So yeah, whether you want to call it a vortex, right,
Mhm.
or a funnel, or a cone, but it's basically the inverse shape of the donut, the inverse shape of the toroid,
Right.
the void.
It's called a hyperbola.
Yeah, yeah. So, like when I was researching Schauberger, like when a trout swims, it will create a
Mhm.
vortex, and then it'll get sucked in and fill that vortex, and allows it to
Right.
swim faster than it would if it would just not do that. So
Yeah,
it's like one thing in the inverse. So yeah, probably just like when water drains, it goes into like a whirlpool or a spiral or a vortex.
exactly.
So probably they figured out a way to create the gas to start
Because
vortexing
yeah,
around the certain types of metal at high altitudes.
right. Yeah, because they're just phases so it seems to me that everything is just a phase of the same thing. Like it's all ether.
So that's what,
And it's
and now
just
you're getting into
yeah.
Walter Russell, right?
Yeah.
So Walter Russell said that everything is, I don't know if he said hydrogen or ether or basically one God substance.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like as it reminds me of this, the Bill, what's his name? Bill Hicks quote on the Tool album,
Mhm.
where it's like all matter is light slowed down to a slow vibration.
Yeah.
That we are all one entity experiencing itself, and
Mm.
nothing, death is not real. And here's Tom with the weather, or something like that. And basically,
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically the same thing that Walter Russell is saying, is that everything is like if you're into, if anybody understands music, it's kind of like octaves in music. You can play a low E
Right.
note or a high E note, or on a piano it'll be like C1, C2, C3, C4, middle C, or whatever. But
Mhm.
there's repeating patterns. It's like math. It's just like 10, 20, 30, 40, right? And then there's
Yeah.
intervals in between which make up the scale, but at 10 and 20, it's kind of the same thing. It's just a doubled. Basically, all sound is a wave, and how many times
Yes.
it oscillates per second or whatever determines its pitch. The more oscillations, the higher the pitch, the slower, the lower.
Right.
And let's say it oscillates like, to this level, right at the under my nose, and that's an E. Well, you double that and it oscillates this much, right? That high, or twice that
Mhm.
fast, then it becomes like the same note, but only on a higher pitch. It's called an octave. So if we look at there being a prima material, or whatever it's hydrogen or ether or whatever,
Mhm.
as that gets slowed down and condensed more into material form, it takes on these different identities, or these different masks, where basically it's all presentations of the same thing. And if somebody wants to know a way to understand that, well, you just think about water, right? We have liquid water, but then when it's cold enough, it turns to ice, which is solid water. When it's hot enough, it turns to steam or vapor or gas, which is uh, the gaseous state. Gaseous water is steam. And then there's a fourth state, or what could be considered the original state by some, which is the plasma state. And it can be cold or hot. And it's basically when the gas that makes up that thing is electrically excited and glows, kind of like neon, right?
Right.
So yeah, all
Yeah,
phases,
exactly.
different phases, different octaves, different manifestations, different speeds of slowed down ether or light or hydrogen or whatever it is, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I so for learning about electromagnetism, are you familiar with Ken Wheeler's work?
Yeah. What is he? Apotheosis or something like that on
Yeah, I think that's
YouTube?
his page.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've watched a few of his videos. I know for sure I've watched the one a couple times where, or there's a few of them where he will put magnetic fluid
Ferrocell, yeah.
under a glass, and then subject it to like a magnet or neodymium magnet, and show exactly what the magnetic field looks like. And then that allows us to kind of visualize between what I've read in some of Peratt's work uh,
Mhm.
about the Chandrasekhar-Fermi equations, or the magnetohydrodynamics, which is how, like, gas is a fluid. It's not a liquid, right? But it's a fluid. Um, and how magnetic fluids respond to a magnetic field, that's magnetohydrodynamics. And that's really
Mhm.
important in understanding all this stuff. And I see the picture of cymatics in the background. Hans Jerry, he did some great work. So once we start to understand how sound can shape matter, and how plasma
Yes.
discharge, and how it's fractal, and how it can adhere to the magnetic field of our Earth, then it starts to make a lot of sense, you know?
So if we are in a realm and it's operated by electromagnetism, and I feel that we're within sort of a large torus field system, and that like the luminaries are kind of spiraling in that vortex within the larger torus field system, and there's this redshift blue shift, this continuous charge distribution. So like with lightning and thunder, Nikola Tesla saying, sound is no more than a perturbation of the ether. And I was thinking about thunder recently and lightning, that lightning is this, the thunder is the sound of the lightning. I mean, the lightning plasma coming through and the sound that it makes, we're seeing the sound of the vibration is what I was thinking about lightning recently. And I was thinking about the sound some people report of the aurora borealis. There's like this buzzing, there's this vibration that if it's concentrated enough. Oh, are you able to hear me still? My
Yeah,
ears
yeah,
buzzing.
yeah. No,
Okay, my whole ears started ringing like crazy.
yeah. The plasma heard you talking about it, so it sirens.
I know. It's I know, and like that. So uh, to quickly side rail though, if I imagine a whole fabric of reality is like the surface of a lake,
Mm-hmm.
and all the vibrations that start to create a spin or some sort of a oscillation, and that starts the funneling process, and from the spin then becomes, as the charge is collected, more electromagnetism, and then it kind of funnels down. I don't even know if down is the right word, but almost into another dimension, into so it's like the surface of the lake and all these funnels, but we're able to, at the bottom of the funnel within density, the fabric that's we're all still made up of the same. So that's like why I think the non-speaking verbal autistic individuals, or people who have glitches in their brain that have like epilepsy or do psychedelics or something, our brain is physiologically designed to limit our capacity to perceive the wider fabric of reality. But if your brain is glitching out, then our antenna is able to pick up so the plasma that can hear, we're all could that's why all these synchronicities, and like you were saying on the 1111 video yesterday, I watched how the numbers seem to sync up with people. Have you heard of the random number generator experiment with Dean Radin?
I probably, but refresh my memory so I
So
don't.
yeah, so for 9/11 was one of the big ones that they have all these random generators that are just randomly spitting out numbers. Or actually, it's binary; it's ones and zeros, just randomly over through a sequence. And when there's a collective event and humanity is all sort of like focused on the same thing and feeling this charged energy and motion or emotion, that it starts to line up the generators to match the
Yeah,
everything
I mean,
starts.
it
Yeah.
makes sense. It makes sense because, like, collective transcendental meditation has been proven to lower crime rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our thoughts affect reality, um, and um, I think that just like if you've ever seen like pendulums
Yes.
next to each other will eventually sync with each other somehow. It doesn't make any sense, but they do. And then also like if I have two tuning forks and they're both tuned to the same frequency,
Yeah. Sympathetic resonance.
string, yeah. So it makes total sense that basically in a recent video I did, I compared like the magnetic field to basically the veil, right?
Yeah.
It creates this noise, and I think they're adding to it with like 5G and Wi-Fi and stuff. Field is down in these different when our magnetic field is lower and reduced, that's when we're able to better pierce the veil individually and collectively and receive things or tune in. Like Tesla said, our brains are receivers, right? We just kind of tune in and
Mm-hmm.
receive the info. And I kind of feel the same way. And it just what we're receiving has a little bit to do with what our intentions and our attention is focused on, but also like what we deserve to get based on our frequency, based on how what we will
Yeah.
resonate with and what we will notice. And it's crazy. It's really crazy when you start thinking about consciousness as a radio. You know?
Yeah, it is. And it's just this because I experiment with it, the feedback, and sometimes the feedback happens almost instantaneously. It's called people call it manifestation, but it's just for me,
Mhm.
it just seems like feedback as I cultivate my signal, and I'm broadcasting a certain, there's going to be a sympathetic resonance to, so that's what I'm going to see, or that's, and depending on how clear or coherent my smaller electromagnetic field is within the nested uh,
Yeah.
grouping of all,
Uh
it
huh.
lines up like the finger trap, all the little glitches, like, and then the key can go through the laser of the signal, whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And the other thing too, when you're talking about like surface of water, another
Yeah.
way to think about it is, you know, we are in an ocean of air,
Yes.
an ocean of air. Air is like
Right.
air is fluid. So
Yes.
when I do this, you're gonna feel just like you would get wet if you're in the water and I was splashing you. You're gonna get an air burst, right? You're gonna,
Yeah.
so it doesn't make you wet, but it's still it's fluid. And everything that we do, every noise that we make, echoes and reverberates inside this 3D ocean that we're in, with rippling in infinity in every direction. You know, we're in it.
Isn't it wild though that that paper, you were reading a paper, it was so fascinating. So I looked it up too, and started to read it. And one of the it was contemplating the self-organizational character of plasma, and how it cause okay, so a couple things that are super fascinating about, so before I saw your channel, I was watching like the Thunderbolts
Hmm.
channel, and there was this other guy called Old Man Builds, I think, that I watched. They did an experiment where they held a charge of plasma within a medium for a certain amount of time, that then it turns itself into a torus, and it starts to become its own self. So I feel like there's this process, and this video I made, I'm all over the place, but let's see if um if you can see this video. Yeah, so here I was seeing that it seems like the fundamental substrate is the ether, and then there's this process of gathering charge, and the dielectricity creates the vibration, and then it turns into its, is if it can sustain enough charge, its own self, like its own, then turns into the the stronger held discharge, which is like, what is it like, accessing the blueprint of possibilities. I was thinking about like the platonic solids, or the realm of form of ideas. It's like, how when you're with Jay Dreamers, and he was showing how these smaller orbs or plasma discharges congregate around the thunderstorm, and they start morphing to represent different like animals or shapes
Yeah.
that are the possibility of like the ingredient the
Yeah.
possible ingredients that they could choose from, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like thinking about the Dogon tribe, then how they saw the shapes looked like the fish scales, so the plasma can convey information like crystals hold information, but it's at a denser, it's a slower rate or something of induction of the information. But when there's no uh filter or density, the rate of telepathic conveyance of information. I mean, I wonder if people ever report going out into like thunderstorms or having or being in these anomalous experiences where they see plasma discharges or orbs, and they report like, oh yeah, I guess there's this UAP guy, Bill something, that says these orbs communicate with him.
Mhm.
It's just wild how the information. So oh my God, I went off on a million tangents.
No, it's cool. It's cool. What I think it boils down to is that that the forms that this plasma discharge will take and
Yes,
the forms it will reveal after the discharge settles down and it starts conforming to our magnetic field show the skeleton of reality, right?
exactly,
The cymatic patterns,
exactly,
the grid, the wide array of options that organic life can present in physical form. And it's the same way that, it's like it shows the underpinnings of like a nervous system or like a, you know,
exactly. Like this, the sprites as
like,
the
yeah.
spirit.
And I have
It
my
look
next, yeah, one of the next video I'm gonna make. It's not gonna debut for about 3 weeks, but it's gonna be on this kind of how nature how is almost designed like a fractal antenna, and we probably reverse engineered the cathedral
exactly,
deck from nature, and this fractal ether harvesting kind of symmetric kind of Lichtenberg electrical discharge pattern, the underpinning of nature and how how that might tie into um what's his name,
Rupert
Rupert
Sheldrake,
Sheldrake with his stuff on morphic resonance, right?
dude. So I met him, dude. I said, dude, like 15 years ago
It's
at
cool.
a little talk he was giving with his wife, and he was talking about morphic resonance and the sense of being stared at. Basically, we have an effect on, the observer has an effect on the observed. And I just have ideas coming through me, like as an artist or musician or creative person. I'm sure, like if you condition yourself to be open as a conduit, stuff will just come through, and it's not just through one person. It's like I was telling you in a note that, like, it's so wild that when I notice several people picking up on similar information and just filtering it through their unique perspective, but it's not like we are geniuses. They say like we have a genius, like the genie, the jinn, right? The spirit that's
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
through
uh-huh.
each
Uh-huh.
individual.
Or
Yeah,
a demon. It all used
a
to mean
daemon. Exactly.
demon. Yeah, it all used to mean it was not negative necessarily, but it was some kind of like, I don't know. I mean,
Right.
maybe even once it awakens within us, we don't need anything external. Like we are our own genies, and our
Exactly.
bodies are
Yeah.
the bottles, and our spirit
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
flame. The plasma like animates us, the
Yeah.
electric spark.
So what I was
Yeah.
thinking about Rupert Sheldrake and this work about plasma and the morphic fields and the 100th monkey and all these things tie in together, and the random
Hmm.
number generators and everything.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the morphic field of each. It's like the Akashic library, Akash, or it's the ether. It's not, there's not one place that's the library. The entire thing is the collection of information, and the entire field of consciousness
Yeah.
is everything, all experiences and information that we're able to to perceive with our antennas. I was thinking about the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and how they talk about how there's different lights and colors of lights and mist of lights after you leave your body, and to steer the soul to not go one way or another, or to be wary about these specific lights. And I was thinking about, okay, if light is the sound, the cymatic frequency of the vibration of the quality of information, so each species has its own uh, sort of like vibration of the information is a certain almost color. So like they were saying, I don't know if this is making sense, but like after becoming disembodied and you're traveling in the ether, and it was like, don't, there's these misty colored lights over here. Well, that's the animal kingdom. You don't want to go and be reborn in the animal kingdom. Uh, or this light here is where that's going to lead you. And I made the connection how morphic field per individual species creates a quality of a certain. Are you understanding what I'm kind of
No, yeah,
saying?
yeah. It's like when you have when you're in spirit form and have access to the spirit senses, you can sense the different like egregores or thought forms or
Yeah,
morphic resonance patterns that each species would imprint upon the ether or the Akashic records. And it's like the
right.
Bardo or the Tibetan Book of the Dead is kind of
Yeah.
a guide to like not go to the wrong one. I did a video, and correct me if I'm wrong on that. That's what I thought you were kind of saying. Um,
Uh,
I did a video on the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
From my perspective, it almost seemed like they're the book of life as well, because it's kind of talking about how just like in life, everything in death is kind of an illusion, and it's a manifestation of your own mind. And
Right.
the trick to not get the trick to escape and not have to reincarnate and get trapped back in physical reality again is to realize that it's all a manifestation of your own mind and not getting
Mm-hmm.
attached to anything, and and just to realize it's all manifestations of your own mind in the bardo. So and then you talked about like being able to interpret everything from one thing. It's like I recently watched somebody explain it by giving an example of like if you would drop two rocks into a lake in two different
Mm-hmm.
separate spots, where the ripples would intersect, that form these
Yeah.
things called interference patterns.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
just from a very small section of the interference pattern, you can gather all the data you need about where the rocks were dropped, how big the drop, everything you need is in that one little
Right.
cross section of that interference pattern. And that's kind of goes back to the holographic nature of reality, where everything is contained in the smallest piece.
Right.
And when you talk about like sound generating light, it reminds me of something I've been meaning to look into for a while now, and maybe this will put it more on my radar, is
Uh-huh.
sonoluminescence,
Yeah.
the star in a jar thing, where they will somehow send a sound wave through a bubble, and
Mm-hmm.
as the bubble collapses, it produces like hot light as bright as and as hot as a star or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that we're coming close on wrapping it up. I don't want to, but there's like, I was, uh, I'm fascinated because the timing of everything in my life. And so it's interesting, this meaning making with synchronicities and cultivating sort of like the blueprint kind of. I feel that I'm just now learning more that it's wise to take charge of what my blueprint is. There's this concept called recapitulation in the Toltec lineage
Oop.
of going through your entire life of all your memories and uh, taking back your essence that you felt was lost in that connection and giving back whatever was given to you to the experience. So it's like, because I was thinking like, okay, if our whole life is conditioned and it's all these memories of interactions and things that happened and sometimes traumas, and it's like, wait a minute, I didn't even get, am I going to let all these memories convey who it is that I am? Or am I going to do the work and go through and cultivate what I actually feel is my essential blueprint and and focus more on, make more powerful in my resonance those meaningful synchronicities and those things that uh kind of echo back to me, using the echo term, uh the those winks of like, no, this is, it could be so much more magical, like going through life and feeling like you're just a collection of all the memories of trauma and what that's awful, and so redesigning. So basically, As an artist, I've done paintings my whole life. When I was a young adult in my early 20s, I didn't know anything about this esoteric or any metaphysical or any electromagnetism. I was just a young girl, having fun, going to art school, doing random paintings. I would drink and, you know, s- smoke or whatever and get in these trances and create paintings that I had no idea what I was doing until years, decades later. So randomly, somebody who had a bunch of my paintings in their garage just a couple weeks ago brought back a couple of my paintings, and I looked at the painting and I just blew my mind, and I can't wait to show you. So let me see if I can share my screen and then pull this painting up and just have you tell me what you think. That's See, I'm not really good with the StreamYard stuff yet. So
It's okay. Take your time.
you're so kind. Okay, so check out this painting and tell me what you see.
Okay. Well, at the bottom, I see some concentric circles or a whirlpool. I see what looks to be maybe a tree or a ruined tree or a split mountain of some sort in the middle. And then the emanating from the tree, it almost looks like that Leviathan symbol, like the spinal column, like
Mm-hmm.
the central column with the plasmoid stacks coming up. And
Mm-hmm.
it almost looks like it has a duck head or a bird head
I
too.
know. I was
And,
waiting to see if you.
yeah, and yeah, purple sky, a little bit of green, almost looks like the aurora kind of
I
symbology.
know.
And there's some kind of like, it almost looks like there's some kind of cosmic face or
He's
man.
blowing a horn.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. See, that's the thing is we tap into the ether, right? And a lot of like whether people when they write songs or make paintings or whatever, like Tesla said, we're just a receiver. So it's not
Right.
like we had the idea. It's like something came through the
Right.
ether and wanted us to be the muse or the medium that it came through,
Yes.
right? And it's weird. It's crazy. Because I
So
I
this,
had an
yeah.
experience where I went to this one of the biggest native mound in North America, and
Mm-hmm.
I had this weird experience there. And when I got home, I drew this. I don't know. It was like this energy, but it was like in the form of an angel, and it looked like electricity. And I had no idea about any of this stuff at that time. And then
Yeah.
years later, I see a picture of a Tesla coil, and I'm like, oh my god, that's exactly what I drew
Yeah.
when I got home.
Wow.
Right? I was
Yeah.
in
And this
some weird
painting,
trance state. Yeah.
yeah, in the train, it's like when we put our ego or thoughts or anything aside, it's just like we become these conduits for clear. Um, but this painting, I titled it "My Family Tree," and so as I look at it now, I'm like, oh my gosh! So this cosmic being blowing the horn of the vibration, creating this plasma discharge that descends down into the tree. This is the ripple that it makes, the design. But this is like my family. So this, I was like, this is my introduction to my family from the. So I'm like, is this me? Am I that duck? Is that me in my plasma purest form? Like some duck head skeleton thing. It's just so wild to think about, like that we like the sprites are the spirits, it's so wild to think about.
Right.
If you take away all of our dense qualities and material qualities, we are these plasma discharges that have been able to sustain enough charge, because those ones that are hovering around the thunderstorms and stuff in that paper that you read, like they almost like energy vampires. That's why the people in the world today are, it's not, we can't even, people can't even help it. They're just drawn electromagnetically to try to get more charge for themselves. But you can learn how to cultivate that for yourself. But a lot of people don't understand, and they just go around trying to steal people's power cords, basically.
And it's crazy because it all sounds so woo-woo until
Right.
you understand, plasma and plasma sentience and electromagnetism, right? Before that,
Yes.
it's like all the new age stuff. It's really the oldest stuff. And
I
some of
know.
it's miswrapped and, sold in deceiving ways to people nowadays. But the oldest stuff is what they call new age. And when you understand plasma and electromagnetism and how everything is vibration, then it like, oh man, you have good vibes, bro. It's like, you know, sounds so woo
Yeah.
woo, but it's that like it's true. And
I know I'm reconciling that. It's like, okay, I always wanted the science to bridge with spirituality and find a way to do that. So I wasn't on either because I don't like really I don't like categorize, I don't like pigeonholing myself or whatever, but I'm reconciling that at this point, like, okay, well, now it is about vibration and frequency and resonance and going, it's like, it's true. And we have a biofield, like, it's not just this woo-woo aura light body thing. It's like we actually have this invisible part of our anatomy that we can learn how to utilize properly as an interface to help us navigate. And it's been usurped or taken advantage of by people who, and it seems like maybe it's a psyop to the new age, to get people to think like, oh, like the whole thing about people with neurodivergence and stuff are categorized as crazy, but actually they're more connected and tapped into what's really going on. And the normal like NPC type individual that is so easily programmable will look at the other part of humanity and who actually has the keys, and it's been programmed to say no, they're the crazy people, and so we don't even believe this, or this information has a bad taste in my mouth because it's too woo woo sounding. um
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think the same thing can happen with things when they're presented in like a religious context, right?
Yeah.
In the opposite way, right? Some people will disregard all the woo woo stuff right away, even though
Yeah.
there's some truth to it, and some people will disregard the religious stuff, even though there's some truth to it, even though it's like astrotheological and
Right.
meta and symbolic, and as within so without, and not necessarily as it's presented, but there's a lot of wisdom in that. So it's like I've kind of learned to bridge the two, science and spirituality,
Yeah.
and um, have a foot in both worlds, and
Right.
try to bridge them and be open to everything, but not married to one or the other, and realize that it's like when you bridge science and religion, that's spirituality, and that's where you really
Mm.
should be, because that's the balance of the two, and that's where the truth,
Yeah,
the magic lies.
it sure does. It really does. It just opens everything up like a transformer, like changing into a different being once I start realizing the wide range of applications across scale, micro to macro, of the same symbols, and the basically the evidence of electromagnetism as the fundamental architecture of reality. And you could just say like, oh wow, I could see how that's formed, that's formed, and it all just opens up and turns. It's
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not psychotic about it, but it's just really, it's a whole new world of perception once you open yourself up to that.
it's mind blowing. It's undeniable, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it is
Yeah.
really one of those things where once you understand this little one thing, and you don't even have to understand it perfectly, but once you
Right.
have like a good concept of it, because language is imperfect to describe it anyway. But once you have a good concept of it, it just like an onion. It's just
Totally.
everything you start seeing
Yeah.
makes sense, as far as
Yeah.
ancient iconography and, religious iconography and petroglyphs and like the work of Schauberger and Walter Russell. And it's
I
crazy. It's
know.
crazy. And it's like you can either, like you were talking about earlier, we can program ourselves, right? Like
Yeah.
they're trying to do it by splitting our
Exactly.
personality through basically low key MK Ultra
Yep.
subjecting us to trauma via, split parent households, low income
Hmm.
households, this against that, trauma and in the media,
Totally.
negativity and film, bad messages and music. And when somebody's kind of got no spirit and their psyche's fractured,
Yeah.
these thought forms or these egregores or
Right.
these programs or these patterns or these whatever you want to call them can basically demon possess them, under whatever
Right.
name you want to give it: thought form, egregore, demon,
Yep.
program, NPC,
Yep.
possessed, whatever you want to call it. And so if we don't take it upon ourselves, like you were talking about, to
Hmm.
be our own programmers, to be our own masters, and to start
Mhm.
noticing synchronicities, following our bliss, and trying to
Mhm.
transmute everything, then just we get sucked into that negativity. And I would rather just co-create and be in union and communion with the mirror and the spirit constantly, rather than letting somebody else program me, and treat
Right.
my life like this. Like you said, that native thing that you talked about seemed kind of like shadow work, like
Yeah,
kind of doing internal
recapitulation.
karmic shadow energy work.
Yeah.
And I think that once you kind of do that and you've done that, now the score's even, it's a reset. And I think your actions count a lot more going forward, because you said you almost become a new person. Well, that's it. You have a spiritual rebirth. You
Yeah.
die on board again. And the more you kind of go through this process, it happens more often. You notice, if you look for who you are, you can't pin yourself down. Well, you know,
Yeah.
I I was like this when I grew up, or I'm from here, or I like this. It's all descriptors of things you like or
Yeah.
where you're from, but not really who you are. And I think once you're
Exactly.
awake, we're on this, not necessarily a finish line, right? It's this continuous vortex, right? The spiraling out process
Yeah.
of continuing to go on that path, and basically treating life like this big scavenger hunt where you just look for synchronicities and follow your bliss. And that's what I'm trying to do with it.
Right. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna say that was awesome. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
gonna just I never said in the beginning, like, welcome Joshua from Electric Gnosis. So I'm
that's
gonna do this
okay. Yeah.
now. And I will share this probably. I recorded it, but it's not live, so but you're okay with me putting it on my channel?
Yeah, do whatever you want with it. If you think it'll help people or help you, yeah, put it out there.
Yeah. I just like sharing information. I'm like I said, I have an injury and I can't really keep up with like trying to build the channel or anything like that. It's too much
Yeah.
for me. So I just like sharing information and helping people have realizations and making connections. And I think that it's a good service to offer, to kind of share, because when people have revelations and they don't share them with other people, it's like it's not just that individuals, it's coming through to be infiltrated into humanity, like the 100th monkey thing. We're supposed to be sharing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And as well as it being like a gift to the universe, just sharing, a lot of stuff does, come back karmically. And it
Mhm.
really is about like, it's about helping other people see and putting it out into the ether in different ways. And but also, seeing these things can be isolating. It can be
Yeah.
mentally lonely, right? And sure, you might find something on YouTube where it's like, okay, cool, I resonate with that, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, and it's synchronistic. But like, the missing part in humanity and it's just that connection, being able to actually
Right.
speak in person, or even just on video, or even on audio or something, but with an actual live real human being who
Yeah.
gets what you get, can get excited about it, you can riff on it, you can express yourself, and you
Right.
can be heard. And I
Yeah.
know that once I started my channel, even before
Mhm.
it took off, just it
Yeah.
felt so good to be heard and to get
Yeah.
positive comments and other people seeing what I see and appreciating the connections and adding more of their own. It just turned into this beautiful little community that
Yeah.
went from me having a passion project and just sharing as a gift to like getting a lot of stuff back from it, which was really cool.
It is great. And congratulations too with the expansion of your channel, and it's just going to keep growing and growing. And I think you have a really great quality of, like, as a teacher type of a person, to explain things in several different ways, and the way that you honor your authenticity and you let things come through, like a musical lyric or a joke, or, I think that's like, it reaches so many people on so many different levels, and you can just feel the sincerity and your excitement about it. And I just, I'm definitely a fan. And uh, it took me a couple moments to connect completely how everything was lining up, but now that I did, it makes sense. And I'm a member of your Patreon, and I encourage other people to go and check out your Patreon and support you in, because you have this energy and this creative, you're a creative force right now, and it's like, this information is really important. And I want to, just from my little space over here in California, just send you just hype vibes to keep going and keep doing all that you're doing, because I just like, I know the momentum ebbs and flows for everybody, but I'm just, happy to witness you as an individual in the forefront of this research now online, being presented. And it's a very big, it's like a milestone for to help people make these click. It's a very important milestone. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I don't think anything is as important as realizing that our sky was glowing with neon fire, and every eye saw it and scribbled it on petroglyphs, and it's where every ounce of religious iconography comes from, and every
Right.
major myth, and it makes it's like the rug in the Big Lebowski. It really ties the room together, and every single human being ever deserves this knowledge. They deserve this
Yeah.
knowledge, and I'm not gatekeeping it or anything,
No.
or trying to sell it. But I will
No.
say this, more and more people are commenting on my YouTube channel, or
Uh,
messaging me on Patreon or Discord, and it's getting hard to devote enough time to creating new content and
mm,
keeping fans engaged. So, or
mm.
just replying to them, because I want to reply to everybody. Just I don't want to leave anybody.
Yeah.
And
I can tell.
so what I do with Patreon, and this, but I'm just gonna tell anybody who might be
Yeah.
watching, is you know there's really only a couple tiers that are being utilized. One is just $1.11 per month, and it's just like, hey, I like what you do, and I wish you could do it full time, and I know that's what you want to do, Josh. So if enough people give you $1.11 per month, you just get some karma back, and you get to be part of the Patreon chat, right? That I'm part of.
Yeah.
I pay attention more to that than I do to like Discord or YouTube, right? But then
Yeah.
there's the 777 level. You get early access to all my vids that I put on YouTube. So anywhere from a couple days to a week to 2 to 3 weeks early, you'll get a private link to view it on a different server rather than YouTube before the the premiere for everybody. And then the other popular level, and this one's an exclusive level. There's only 40 spots because I only have so much
Mm.
time, right?
Yeah.
And time is money, and I'd like to do this full time. So what I thought was, there might be lots of people who watch my stuff who are like, man, I wish I could just pick his brain for a half an hour, right? I wish I could
Right.
talk to him one-on-one, even if it's just a vent to share the connections you're making so you don't feel crazy, or just to pick my
Yeah.
brain, whatever. You need a plasma therapist. You need you want to share some cool stuff. You want to pick my brain. It's a half hour each month, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's video or just audio chat, whatever they want. And it's you get everything else with that, the good karma, the access to my vids early, and it's just 22 per month. And I
Yeah.
almost put as much content out as somebody could watch on, you know find as much interesting stuff as you could find on Netflix or whatever. So
Yeah.
consider me your Netflix, your Plasma Apocalypse Netflix, and you can even have
Right.
one-on-one chats with me each month and get access to my vids early if you want. But if not,
That's so cool.
there's still so much free stuff, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not hiding anything behind a paywall or selling any info. All the stuff's free. It's just, if you want early access or to pick my brain about stuff, there's ways to do that, so that maybe eventually I can do this full time instead of having a slave job.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. So cool. I am going to go watch your premiere. When's it starting? In a couple minutes?
Actually, in a half an hour. It's almost 3:30 right now. So
Okay.
I got till 3:30. We can chat if you want to go for a
Oh,
couple of
okay.
minutes. Otherwise,
Yeah,
but
you're
then I need a little bit of time before when I get off here to take care of a few things and then to get ready to get back into the YouTube chat for the premiere, which is at 4 o'clock. And I
yeah.
do want to say it's going to be one called Strange Gods Part 9. And it's a really
Yes.
popular series that I have where I show the plasma discharge shapes
Yep.
in religious iconography and different things,
Hmm.
and really show a lot of comparison shots. And then the next one is number 10, which is like highlights from the first 9. I just
Oh,
made that,
cool.
really excited about it. It has a bunch of like collages, so it's like presents it in the undeniable way, and it's like the highlights of the first 9 strange gods. So those are not 9 is premiering today, and then in 2 days we've got 10, which is a highlight reel with a few bonus parts.
Okay, Joshua, I really appreciate there's so much more I could talk to, but I have so many notes and stuff, but it's just maybe I'll, if something really pops up like, "Hey, you forgot to ask about this," I'll send you an email or I'll do a follow-up video and send it to you and you can
Sure. Or,
what happened?
as part of my
Oh,
Patreon, you've got access to
wait.
send direct messages like PMs through Patreon.
Oh, okay.
And that's a really easy way for me to keep in touch with the people who are paying members to
Oh, okay.
Patreon. Because it's like,
Okay.
you send it through there. It's like, oh yeah, this is one of the people who
Yeah.
deserves a little more attention and a little more urgent attention than I can give everybody else. Because
Oh,
I'm looking for a job. I got a girlfriend. I go out and see live
yeah.
music. I make a lot of
Right.
videos. I don't have
Too.
you
Yeah.
know, time to respond to everybody.
No.
Even the people that email me, right? I've got a lot of unresponded emails to people because my
Oh.
email is attached to some of my videos. So, especially if you're a Patreon, the best way to make sure I don't miss your stuff, send me a through Patreon be the best way.
Well, thank you so much for answering my emails and connecting with me and believing in me and having this great conversation. And yeah, check out my channel, the shorts and some of the videos I've made over the past year, kind of do contemplating the torus and how it ties in with plasma, and then just all the different. Yeah, my channel's called the Subtle Realms.
Metal Realms, yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go check out your shorts right away. And
Hmm.
if they were like what you were showing me that you have the up
Hmm.
on TikTok, I'll probably give
Yeah.
your video or your channel a shout out
Oh, yeah.
in one of my future videos. And so,
Cool.
especially if you have this vid up, then you might get some traffic that way and some new subscribers. So
Yeah. Yeah. I never know, like, if I'm going to stick to one topic or another. It's an ever evolving journey, but
mine is too. I talk about
yeah.
synchronicities and plasma and jinn and giants and
Yes.
just every because this unraveling the truth really connects a lot of different threads, and they all do
Yes.
connect. But I dig into a lot of stuff too. So you're not
Yeah.
never. I don't think anybody should ever feel bound to stick to one subject. It gets kind of boring when people get into loops, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Wow. Fascinating. Um, well, I'm excited to hop in your premiere and just kind of I'll say hi in the chat and see see what you're presenting
All right. Well,
later.
we'll see you there in about a half an hour. And
Yeah.
other than that, maybe we can do this again
Yeah.
in December or whatever. We could do a
Yeah.
monthly chat or something. So, uh,
Yes, I'll have my thoughts more organized for next
no,
time.
it's okay. Yeah, just an informal chat's fine with me too. But
Mhm.
I appreciate you having me on. Thanks for giving me a platform to share,
Mhm.
and I hope that people get something out of this. And I look forward to talking to you in the future. Okay.
Yay. Okay, Joshua, take care.
All
Bye.
right.